Again, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Senthil Kumar, and thanks for taking out your time this afternoon and joining us for yet another SharePoint webinar series. This time, our webinar is all about Test Drive Microsoft project and portfolio management. So we are having a presentation followed by a demo which will take about 40 minutes, and post that we'll answer any questions which you may have. As a general information, this webinar will be recorded and emailed to all attendees. Attendees are muted throughout the webinar. Please ask questions using the question box in the control panel, and all questions, as I said before, will be answered at the end. If you face any issues during the webinar, please drop in a quick note to the email ID listed on your screen right now. And we have been doing a lot of webinars around SharePoint the recent few months, and these are the list of webinars which we've done in the last few months, and all these recordings are available in our website. Please access our website and use the URL to access these recordings. Before we deep dive into the webinar, a quick introduction about Trigent, who we are. We are a mid-level Microsoft Gold certified IT services firm in business for the last 20 years, generating about 30 million in global revenue, working with a variety of platforms, let it be SharePoint, Yammer, Azure, mobile. Have experience in working with 100+ clients, executing over 120 projects for them. Headquartered in Boston, Massachusetts, with other 3 offices across the globe. Highly rated when it comes to executing SharePoint projects. Have about 100+ SharePoint consultants working across a variety of SharePoint projects. Here is a quick glance at our customers who we have worked or currently working with. You see the list ranges from startups to Fortune companies. And here is the 5 for 5 offer, which I've been talking in our email. So 5 webinar attendees will receive 5 hours of free SharePoint or Office 365 related product consulting. You can avail this offer for your business or technical work, and the winners will be notified separately within 48 hours after the webinar ends. And here is a speaker for the day. I let Manasa introduce herself.
Hello everyone, very good afternoon. I'm Manasa. I work as a SharePoint solutions specialist for Trigent. I have been handling most of the SharePoint projects, and I'm involved in SharePoint projects right from the discovery or the requirement gathering phase until the delivery and deployment and even the end user training. So I'm glad to be here to take you all through this webinar on Microsoft project and portfolio management using Project Server. I would be probably covering mostly the project management features of the Project Server and not get on to the portfolio management. So here is the agenda for the day. We will go through the project management tools that are available and look at the goals for project management and see why should we consider SharePoint for project management purposes. And then I'll take you through the basics of project management using Project Server of SharePoint, a demonstration, and at the end we'll glance through the key takeaways for the day. So what is project management? Going by the definition of it, project management is the discipline of initiating, planning, executing, controlling, and closing the work of a team to achieve specific goals and meet specific success criteria. So as depicted here, the major KPI for a successful project implementation is delivering a quality product within the scope in a given time frame and definitely within the budget. A good project management tool is just an enabler to achieve this, though the tool in itself cannot do wonders, and the basic project management discipline is essential right from the project planning, and a good project management tool will definitely enable us achieve this KPI. So we should always have a plan and believe in it. Nothing will happen by accident. At least from my experience, a successful project delivery does not definitely happen by accident. So the primary challenge of the project management is to achieve all of the project goals within the given constraints. Having said that, what are the typical project management tools used in the market today. So according to one of the surveys, here are the top 3 project management tools. The Microsoft Project Plan, which is MPP. This is used generally to manage IT project execution, which is again a Microsoft product. Then comes the Microsoft Excel, which is most commonly used tool. It is widely used by both technical and non-technical audience for project management purposes. Email. Will you even believe if I say email is the most widely used project management tool? But it is. As per one of the surveys, this is true. People are comfortable using emails for day-to-day communications. The project plans, task lists, calendars, resource leave plans, everything is stored in emails, and people end up searching their emails for all small information required for project execution. Email communication is definitely good, but it's not the right fit for the project management. So in spite of this, why people are still using it? It's because they're accustomed to email communications than any other tool. Later in this webinar, I'll talk about how one can still access all the project-related artifacts in SharePoint right from their emails. So what are the typical goals of project management? The first one is the artifact management, which means throughout the life cycle of the project, all the related documents and other artifacts has to be managed properly and preferably with the versioning. And enhancing the project transparency to key stakeholders is another goal, and that will help to a certain extent in achieving a good project success. Effectively tracking schedule, budget, and change is of course an integral part of any project management. And last but not the least, a very good visibility to customers and senior management will always help in tracking the project progress, and at the end of it, making sure that the customers and the senior management are satisfied. So now that we have seen the goals, why should we even consider SharePoint for project management purposes? There are various reasons to that, and I'm sure once we go through today's demo, we will be convinced to use SharePoint and will agree that SharePoint can support us as a tool in project management. So here are a few of the important things what SharePoint can offer from project management's perspective. SharePoint can offer multiple things based on roles and the needs. And the second one is efficient collaboration. So SharePoint, as we all know, is a very good collaboration tool. And the cross-platform compatibility is so good to have, which means all of us could still access the project site, the artifacts, collaborate on that using any device that we want to, and it will work across the browsers. And SharePoint does support this out of the box, and we don't have to do anything custom on that. So these are the strong points why we should go for SharePoint project management. So now that we have seen the basics, let's quickly go through a demonstration of the basic project management stuff, whatever project server of SharePoint offers. Here are the few things I will be covering in today's webinar. We will be creating a new project, and any project would have few tasks and issues related to that. We'll see how do we link up the issues to the task, and at the end of it, any organization would want their own branding to be applied. We'll quickly go through how do we do that. And there are a few out-of-the-box reports which I will be covering, and what should a project site, a standard project site have. So that will be shown. And at the end, we will see how do we reuse the existing project site. Let's quickly get on to the demo of the project server. So SharePoint does offer different sites, different kind of sites. For example, to name a few, SharePoint will have a team site, and then it will have a wiki site and project site. So each of the sites will come with its own out-of-the-box features. For example, a SharePoint team site will be mostly used for collaboration purposes. So by default, if you are creating your website or a web application using a team site, it will have its own document libraries, lists, discussion boards, whichever is essential for a successful collaboration. But if you create your site using a wiki site of SharePoint, that will be used as a wiki page wherein you could edit the contents of that, have your own text into it, and so on and so forth. Similarly, whatever we currently see is the home page of the SharePoint out-of-the-box project site. So a project site of SharePoint offers few things like your tasks list, issues list, deliverables, risks, and having a basic discussion forum and a document library of its own, and a timeline to depict the milestones. So these are few of the features which SharePoint offers out of the box for a project site. Let's go through it one by one now. Let me go ahead and create a new project. I hit on create or import projects. I got to give it a name. I would say new sales and marketing website launch. All right, so I hit on create. SharePoint typically takes about 5 to 10 seconds to create a new site. As I was telling, right from creating a own site for managing the projects to giving permissions to the users to maintaining the artifacts. The advantage of having this is one could independently handle all this without having to have dependencies on other departments like IT. For example, whenever there is a new project kickoff, the project sponsor or the key stakeholder could come and create a site themselves and then start sharing or giving permissions to the team members and other key persons involved in the projects all by themselves. That's nice. So we do have a project site for new sales and marketing website launch here in place. This is the home page of our newly created site. As we can see, there are a few things which has come by default. One is the project summary, and this is just a tip which SharePoint gives. So after following these steps, I could always remove that, which I'll be doing at a later point of time. Newsfeed is like a discussion board. So this could be a one place where all the team members could talk about any topic pertaining to the project, and it could be visible to everybody on the same page. Next is the document library. If you can see here, the SharePoint has created its own document library for this particular project, which is so. Let's get started by adding a few documents here. I say new document. So I'm uploading a document and I hit on OK. As you can see, it just uploaded a document. At this point, you may have a question as to if I have multiple documents, how do I upload it? Should I hit on this new document again? No, you don't have to do that. Let's quickly show how do we exactly do this. So here are a list of documents. So let me just take one or two of them, drag it and drop it here. And SharePoint will take that. So this is how you easily drag and drop multiple documents onto SharePoint. Let's go quickly to the next thing, which would be adding the tasks to a given project. So let us get started with creating a new task. The first task would be to have a project kickoff meeting. I would want that to happen immediately, so let's put on tomorrow's date. And I have to assign the task to a person. Let me put the onus on myself for that. And I say save. The task is saved. So like I said, if you have multiple tasks already identified and you would want to input them, you don't have to click on new task again. Instead, say edit this list, and you could start inputting the data like the way you do for any Excel document. So after the kickoff meeting, I would say review the existing collaterals for the project, and that will start probably on Friday. This is assigned to a couple of my colleagues. Not recognizing. Yeah. So if you notice something interesting happened just now, whatever task I created got added to the timeline. Timeline is nothing but a quick snapshot of the important tasks of the project, which could act like a milestone. So if you notice, this is added while the first project kickoff meeting task was not there. From the task list, you could always identify which are the important ones and have them tagged to your timeline, which means it shows there. For now, let me just quickly add this project kickoff also. How do you do that? Is just right click on this. And there, when you do that, you get an option called add to timeline. I hit on add to timeline. And if you notice, whatever I just added got added here. You could always make this look better by dragging and dropping and placing it wherever you want to, just for the look. So I do that, and I'm done with creating a couple of tasks. So once I do that, let me get on to creating few issues to the project, because I'm sure no project is issue free. All the projects will have some of the other issues coming up. Let me quickly add few issues to this. I will see collaterals not accessible using the HTTPS. And this would be assigned to one of our network people. I'm just assigning it to them for now. Status would be active. Yeah, priority, you could change it accordingly. I would say this is of high priority. And category, this is just a dummy text. You could always update it to whatever you want, and due date is immediate. I would want that to be resolved right now and today. All right. So you may have a question now. Creating the issues is fine. However, all the issues will not be common. Instead, few of them would be tagged to a specific task. For example, if you see in this context, one of the tasks I entered was to review the existing collaterals, and the issue to accomplish that task is collaterals are not accessible using the HTTPS link given. So how do we really relate the issues to the tasks, and how difficult is that to do so? It's pretty simple. Let me just quickly walk you through that process. Oh, I didn't save that. I don't want to leave that. Let me save this change. Yeah, now it has changed. You have to click on the list settings. I want to create a new column, and I call the column as tasks. I will say it's a lookup because we all know that the task list is already existing. And it'll ask me to from where should it get the information from. I'll say get the information from the tasks list, and the column would be the task name, and I say OK. And now if I go back to the issues list, you can see there is a new column called tasks added. If I want to now assign this issue to a task, I'll say edit item. Here you go. So if you notice, all the tasks, whatever I entered for this project, will appear in this drop down, so that we could choose whatever is applicable for the issue. So I'll say this issue is related to reviewing the existing collaterals, and I hit on save. So it reflects here against the issue. So this is as simple as it is to create tasks, issues, and associate them with one another. Similarly, you could go ahead and add deliverables, risks. I'll not deep dive into those because those are very much similar to whatever I just demonstrated. Now that we have covered the basics, let's go back to the home page. So how do you share the site? You have done few things, but now you would want all your team members to have access to the site. How do we go about doing that? It's as easy as just you got to click here and have all your team members listed. For now, I have added about 2 to 3 and I hit on share. So the minute you hit on share, this particular project site will be given, the contribute permission will be given to all the team members mentioned here. What I mean by contribute permission is people here will be able to read all the contents of the site as well as write, which is contribute. So they will have read, write, and edit permissions on the site. So here it's displaying a confirmation stating that the new sales and marketing website launch project is now shared with the following team members. So once we have done this, anybody would be interested in applying a basic branding because you may not really like whatever is offered out of the box. Let's go quickly and do some of those changes. So if I go to site settings, under the look and feel, there is an option called title, description, and logo. I hit on that. For now, I'll just change the logo to Trigent. I say OK. If you notice, the Trigent logo is appearing here on the top left corner. That is done. Now, even the color of it, probably I'm not liking it too much and I would want to change. That's simple too. You just have to click on change the look. And SharePoint out of the box does offer few themes. Like you can see, you could choose whatever theme you would want to. So let me just go ahead and choose a theme for, say I'll just go with the gray theme for now. And you could always have a preview of that. I say try it out. And SharePoint does show you how does a sample look like. If you like it, you could keep it, or else you could always discard the new theme. This looks far better than what was there earlier. So for now, yeah, I'll say yes, keep it. So the minute I do that, the new theme will be applied to the whole site. And here is the site with the change applied. And now we are pretty much done. You could always add additional lists, libraries, or other apps to your site. So now that we have done this, I'll say remove this so that my home page looks better. These are the basic things one could do with the project template. And now having said that, if you have a requirement wherein you want to reuse whatever you have done and standardize the way project management is done across the organization, there's a way to do that. So what typically happens is in an organization you could have multiple departments and each department would have their own way of managing projects. For that matter, even within a department, different project managers or different project sponsors would be managing projects differently. So instead, if there is a uniformity maintained in the way the projects are managed across the organizations, that will be definitely helpful because that will give a snapshot of what the projects are looking like for the key stakeholders and the top management, and reporting becomes very easy. I'll show you how reporting can be done and what are the few out-of-the-box reports available from SharePoint. Let's quickly have a look at that. I'll have to go to the home page of the project site. If you see, there is an option called reports here. I go there. Yeah, then I hit on reports. Whatever language is applicable for the given country is listed here. So as of now, English is applicable. I click on that. If you see inside that, there are few report templates already stored. So all these templates are offered out of the box by SharePoint. For now, I'll quickly show you one of the reports. I click on, say, hit on issues and risks. This report will show me all the issues and risks across the projects in my organization. So for example, new marketing, say, site launch. Here I entered an issue telling that collaterals are not accessible using the HTTP. Whatever I just entered comes here. So this will be one place where the data related to all the projects across the organization is available. There are a few other interesting reports too. The project overview dashboard report, this will give the snapshot of all the projects and their health, like whether they are in green, orange or red. So as to the project overview, so once you go here and see, you could further drill down that by project. So all this is offered out of the box, but that does not get restricted here. Instead, if you want more visualistic reports, that could be done as well with minimal customization. So I would like to now take you through one of the project sites which I had created to manage one of the internal projects that we were executing. So that was an intranet development, and our website was called Trigent. As you can see on the left hand side, this site is having segregation for different phases of the project initiation, planning, execution, control, and finally the closure. This is the project homepage, whatever we are seeing currently. We have created a small wiki page just to talk about the project and the description of the project. So this is a free text area where we could talk about the project. Coming to the project initiation, the project statement can be stored here, followed by the project goals, and you would have few very important contacts here for the project, so that can be stored here as well. Next comes the planning of the project. I hit on project tasks. So it loads up all the tasks related to the project. You all may have a question here. The task creation, whatever I demonstrated few minutes back, was not as comprehensive as what is being shown here. It was pretty simpler. So you would ask, how did I achieve this detailed task under the plan or the project task? So the way this was done was I had an MPP, Microsoft Project Plan, in place already, and all the information was input there. All that I had to do was just integrate and sync up the MPP details with this project site. So that's possible too, and that's what we have done here. That's the reason you see all the details. There's a column called here assigned to. So as and when it is assigned to people, the different tasks, what happens is your SharePoint project site takes it, and if you notice, there's a section called execution here on the left hand side, and under that there is something called as my work. So let me just click on that. So if you notice, what SharePoint displays here is only the project tasks which are assigned against my name. So that is what is the project tasks, and same as to the project issues. So whatever issues are assigned to me, I would be able to see those issues and proceed working on them. And documents, like the way I was talking earlier, is a space to enter all the project related artifacts, and you could have a project calendar where you could track and maintain all the events and other important milestone dates pertaining to the project. Again, this is default. You could have few email alerts based on this. For example, if you have a project task to be completed tomorrow and you want to alert all the team members on that, you could always do the previous day with just writing few lines of the custom code. And yeah, project issues we covered. Then comes the project status reports. So you could have the status reports either daily, weekly, monthly, whatever the project demands. So if you notice here, for the project status, there are overall health indicators, time indicator, cost indicator. So all this could be manually entered. Also, there are other ways of automating that. So this is one of the project site, as I was telling, was created. If you see, it can show you the progress complete and what are the key performance indicators. This is the home, then comes the schedule. This again, whatever I covered using the MPP, that's what it is. Then you could see what's the status and what were the tasks which were complete in last 7 days, what are the top 5 project issues, so on and so forth. Excuse me. So now you all could have a question as to, fine, we have spent enough effort in standardizing this project site and we have created whatever is required for the project execution. But say there are 10 other projects getting started in the organization shortly. How do we go about reusing this, or is there any way that we could reuse it? The answer to your question is yes, we could. So SharePoint, what it does is each site, it will give an option to save that as a template, and that template is nothing but a structure of the site you created. That template as is can be used in future to create other projects. I'll quickly walk you through how simple that process is. Again, I'm going to the site settings. Under site action, there is an option called Save Site as Template. I hit on that and I say this is a new sales and marketing project template. There is an option called Include Content. What this means is, if we check this, all the issues, risks, tasks, documents, whatever we just input will be carried forward onto the new project site. So if you want to do that, you could click this. If you do not want the contents, you can just leave it as is. For me, I just need the structure, but I don't want to have my contents for the new projects. I wish to upload my own contents, so that's the reason I'll not check this. Now I hit on OK. So SharePoint is working on it and trying to create the structure. All the created templates will go and reside in SharePoint's gallery under an option called Solutions. So once it is saved in Solutions, it will be available permanently, and at any given point of time, the users can go and create a new site using the existing template. So once this is saved successfully, we could quickly go through that process as well and see how easy it is to restore back the template which just got saved. So this should be done within a couple of more seconds. Again, the advantage, like I was talking about in saving the template, is this will help standardizing the way project management is done. Again, each project could have small deviances, and you could have few more additional widgets, but overall the structure could remain the same, and that can be achieved using the templatized project management. This looks like it's taking a little longer than expected. Let's wait for a few more seconds. So while we wait for this, yeah, once this is saved, you could always restore that back. And along with that, there are a few other things which the Microsoft Project Server can really offer. One of the very interesting features is the site mailbox. I'll not be demonstrating that, but definitely I would like to talk about it. What the site mailbox offers is inside the project site, if you have an Exchange server on-prem, you could always configure that and your SharePoint project server to have a common site mailbox, which means all the project communications, instead of going to individual team members, can go on to that common mailbox, and whoever will log into the project site will get to see the site mailbox and all the email communications which has happened pertaining to that project. So that's another very interesting and good feature of the Microsoft Project Server. And there are few more to offer, like your OneDrive. So the integration of Project Server with OneDrive is interesting too. So by integrating this to OneDrive, all your documents, whatever is on SharePoint, could reside in SharePoint, and you could always sync it up with OneDrive. And offline, you could still work on the documents in OneDrive. And later, whenever you connect back to your project site, your documents will be synchronized without any issues. So these are a few more interesting features. Probably in the upcoming webinars, we could have a demonstration around them. Oh, looks like there is some problem. It should ideally not take so long. Let me just stop this process and try to redo that. New sales and marketing project template. Yeah, this looks okay. Let me give one more attempt and see what's happening. So we do already have few templates. While this is working on that, let me just try to see if we could create a new project using that. I'll go back to the SharePoint homepage of the SharePoint project site, which is this. Yeah. The first step I did in the demonstration was to create or import new projects. Whenever you do this, SharePoint will take the template available out of the box. Instead, if you want to use your own template, you have to go here and say site contents. Say new subsite. And I'll give a name called project recreated using template. There are a few custom templates. See, it says select a template. There are a few custom templates which is available, which I had already created previously. So let me go there. Yeah, Trigent project template. I had actually saved this template with a different name. I'll choose that for now. And I say create. Project created using templates is the name I have given. The minute I say, oh, I always tend to do this. Giving the URL is mandatory for SharePoint to create a project space. So I say create. Now SharePoint should use the predefined template of Trigent and create the new project site for us with the same look and feel and with the same feature. Let's wait for a couple of seconds. Yeah, it says working on it, and this should not take long. Looks like my server is not very happy today. So please do bear with it. It definitely should not take so long. I think my SharePoint server today has some issues with that. I'm sure, the way this has ended up with the errors, this also would end. I think the server is not responding. I apologize for that. Oh, it did. Okay, thank you. Yeah, so as I was talking, your project recreated using template site is up. And if you notice, this has the same look and feel as that of the original Trigent site that I was talking about. And now you can see that only the structure is carried forward, but not the content. You can start from here and start entering the data onto that. This takes us to the end of the webinar. From the demonstrations perspective, I had to cover these. Going back to our presentation now. So now I think all of us should be able to relate to this better. What's there in store for project managers from the SharePoint project management perspective? As we saw, SharePoint can offer multiple things based on the roles and the needs. And efficient collaboration is one of the very good things with SharePoint, and of course the cross-platform and cross-browser compatibility. Yeah, as we saw for the team members, you can have a real-time view of the tasks assigned, and the collaboration is made so easy because everybody could be on the same page at the same time. And you will have one central location for accessing all the project artifacts. Yeah, for the tab management, it's all about the dashboard, and the data related to all the projects across the organization will be available in a single location, and project-wise detailed reporting is possible too. Yeah, like I was talking while trying to create a template, there is more to offer from SharePoint Project Server. We are not covering those today. Probably in the upcoming webinars we could talk about that. So few of the important things are listed here. The integration with Microsoft Project Management tool like MPP. I quickly showed that I did integrate that, and I synced it up with the project site, wherein we could see the project plan, tasks, milestones, etc. But we didn't really see how do we exactly achieve that integration. That's possible. And you could track cost, timeline, and reporting around that is possible. And the project progress tracker, wherein you could see what percentage of the project is complete and where we stand with respect to the project completion. Integration is with OneDrive is what I just spoke about briefly. Yeah, and I did talk about the common team mailbox, which is the site mailbox too. So here we are at the end of the webinar. Let's quickly look at the key takeaways for the day. The collaboration and project management can go hand in hand with SharePoint. And SharePoint Project Server will help every individual associated with the project stay on the same page. The cross-platform compatibility makes bring your own device concept possible, which is very great and good in today's mobile world. And like I was saying, I would like to emphasize the fact that the project management tool is just an enabler, and we should have the basic discipline in the project planning and execution. And if we have that in place, the project management tool can definitely help us track the project better and have a quality deliverable. So that's about it. That's all I had for today. Thank you.
Great. So thanks, Mansa. Let me quickly summarize what we went through today. We started with the list of project management tools like MPP, Excel, email, then moved on to goals of project management like artifact management, how to effectively track, schedule, budget, and change. Then a few strong reasons why to consider SharePoint for project management. And finally ended with the demo where we created a new project site and how to include, how to provide permissions, how to create tasks, issues relating to tasks. So this is what we wanted to go through today. It's time for questions. We already have some, but please go ahead and type in any questions you may have in the questions window. We'll start answering questions as they come. But for the moment, here is the first question. Okay, so here's the question. Does SharePoint by default has a project server or a separate license needs to be purchased?
Does SharePoint by default have project server? Okay. Yeah, project server basically is built on the SharePoint platform. So if you have a SharePoint, that does not mean you will have license. The license for project server needs to be purchased separately. However, looking at the other way around, you cannot have project server as a standalone tool. So to have the project server, you should have SharePoint. So license-wise, SharePoint will require a separate license, and project server will need a separate license.
Okay. Here's the next one. Can Microsoft Project Server be separately installed or purchased?
I think I just answered that. Microsoft Project Server cannot be separately, it has to be separately purchased, but it cannot be separately installed. Before you install your project server, having the SharePoint in place is mandatory.
Okay, so here's the third question. Okay. So will Project 2013 support multilingual user interface pack?
Yeah, it does. SharePoint does offer a multilingual user pack which could be used with the project server. That's possible, yes.
Okay. I don't see any questions. Oh, here is one which just came in. Okay, so okay, this is about the new features. What are the new features available in Microsoft Project Server 2013?
Yeah, so as compared to Microsoft Project Server 2010, there are a good lot of features in 2013, but here are few of them. One is the integration with Link for direct communication with the team members. Like I was showing, while you add tasks and do few things, if you have integration with the Link, it will automatically communicate to the respective team members as to a new task is assigned and this is the new plan and so on and so forth. The second thing is, you can have the process workflows customized, and there is support for agile project management and by having cumulative reports, and you could have the burn down reports in Project Server 2013. And yeah, the user interface is improvised to a greater extent as compared to the previous versions. So these are the main things which are like pretty improvised in 2013 as compared to the previous version.
Okay. So I don't see any more questions in the queue. But anyway, let's wait for a minute to see if the attendees have any new questions. Okay, I don't think we have more questions. So thank you very much for joining us today. Thanks for your questions. Again, please don't hesitate to reach out to us if you have further questions. So just a reminder about this 5 for 5 offer. So you'll receive a separate notification from us after this webinar. With respect to questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to us if you have new questions. We would be happy to go into much more detail if that would be helpful. So thank you very much. Have a wonderful day.
Yeah, thank you. Have a good day.